walk out on this deal? Huh?
Please stop.
Get up! I said get up!
No!
Hey, maybe that's
Stay
enough
out
for
of
him.
this. I can't.
Look at me! You won't cross.
Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. The salesman's smirk widened as the laughter echoed from behind the counter. Every eye in the showroom turned to her, the waitress who didn't belong. Her hands clenched, her voice steady, but her heart burned with quiet fury. They thought she was invisible. They thought her presence was a mistake. What none of them knew was that tomorrow, she'd return, not as a customer, but as the owner. This is the story of a woman humiliated, then crowned with power. Welcome, story lovers. If this opening gripped you, comment your city below and share this story. It was one of those mornings where the city seemed to hum with quiet possibility. The air smelled faintly of rain and ambition. Inside a small diner tucked between the glass towers of downtown Atlanta, Amara Johnson balanced trays of coffee cups with the kind of grace that came from years of repetition. Her smile was warm, her words kind. But behind her composure was a dream that stretched far beyond the scent of fried eggs and burnt toast. Amara wasn't just a waitress. She was a woman who believed in better days. Every dollar she earned wasn't for luxury, but for a purpose. She had been building something quietly, patiently, an empire in the making. Few knew that after her shifts ended, she changed from her apron into a blazer, sitting in her tiny apartment reviewing contracts, researching investment portfolios, and sketching plans for what would one day be her own business. Her mother used to tell her, "People may serve you or look down on you, but never let that define you." Amara lived by those words. Though she didn't yet know how much she'd be tested, the diner's regulars saw only the friendly waitress with perfect manners and tired eyes. They didn't know the woman who owned half a dozen successful properties under an LLC no one recognized by name. They didn't see the quiet determination of someone who had faced prejudice her entire life and learned to turn every slight into strategy. When she walked past the sleek car dealership across the street, she often imagined the day she'd finally drive one of those cars, on her terms, not theirs. But that morning, fate had other plans. One simple errand, one step through those dealership doors, and everything she believed about patience, dignity, and respect would be tested in ways she could never have imagined. The day began like any other, until she crossed that street. Then everything changed. When Amara stepped into the dealership, the air shifted. The marble floors gleamed under the fluorescent lights, and the faint scent of polished leather filled the room. She had come only to inquire about a car, a modest sedan she'd admired for months. She wasn't dressed for wealth that morning, still in her simple work uniform, black slacks, a white blouse, and shoes worn from long hours of standing. At first, no one noticed her. A few salesmen gathered near the reception desk, laughing, their voices echoing through the pristine space. Amara waited politely, expecting someone to approach. But minutes passed. She smiled toward one of them, lifting her hand slightly. The man looked at her, then turned away, whispering something to his colleague that drew a quiet chuckle. Still, she stayed calm. She approached the nearest salesperson herself, a tall man with slicked back hair and a name tag that read, Greg. "Excuse me," she said softly. "I'm interested in the black sedan in your showroom." Greg didn't even look up from his phone. "The prices are listed online," he muttered. "We have financing options, but you'll need good credit." His tone was sharp, dismissive. When she asked if she could take a closer look, he waved a hand toward the car like swatting away an inconvenience. As she walked around the vehicle, another salesman leaned toward Greg. He whispered just loud enough for her to hear, "Probably just here to get warm." Laughter followed, low, but unmistakable. Her cheeks flushed, not with shame, but anger. Years of subtle discrimination had taught her how to hide the sting, but this felt different. This wasn't ignorance. It was cruelty, polished and professional. Still, she refused to let them see her break. She asked if she could sit inside the car just to feel the interior. Greg sighed dramatically, tossing the keys toward another salesman. "Make it quick," he said. "We've got real buyers coming in soon." Amara sat inside the sedan, her hands trembling as she gripped the steering wheel. She didn't see just a car. She saw everything she'd worked for. The laughter outside the window blurred into a hum of voices that no longer mattered. When she stepped out, a manager approached, smiling, but not kindly. "Ma'am," he said, "we don't usually let casual visitors handle our luxury models. You understand?" She nodded slowly, her heart pounding. Every word, every smirk etched itself into her memory. "Yes," she said quietly. "I understand perfectly." She left the dealership that day without another word. But as she walked away, something changed inside her. The humiliation she felt burned into determination. They didn't know her name. They didn't know who she was or what she owned, but they would. That night, she called her attorney. By morning, the paperwork was in motion, swift, decisive, unstoppable. The same dealership that mocked her was already on the path to belonging to her, and none of them saw it coming. The next morning, the dealership buzzed with its usual rhythm, coffee cups clinking, phones ringing, and salesmen preparing for another day of charm and persuasion. None of them remembered the woman they had ridiculed the day before. To them, she was just another nameless face among the hundreds who walked in and out, unworthy of notice. Until the convoy arrived, a sleek black car pulled up, followed by two more. The staff straightened, expecting some executive visit from corporate. When the door opened, silence fell. Out stepped Amara. No apron, no tired eyes, no trace of the woman they had dismissed. She wore a cream silk suit that shimmered under the morning light, her posture calm but commanding. Greg's smirk vanished. The manager's greeting stuck in his throat. The general manager hurried forward, rehearsing his politest tone. "Welcome, ma'am. How can we assist you today?" Amara's gaze swept the room. "You can start," she said evenly, "by treating me with the respect you should have shown yesterday." Confused murmurs rippled across the floor. Then a lawyer entered, handing over a thick folder. The papers bore her company's logo, the LLC that had just finalized the purchase of the entire dealership. The identical signatures that mocked her yesterday were now being placed under her name. No one spoke. No one dared. Amara turned to Greg, her voice calm, almost gentle. "You're right," she said. "I did need good credit. Fortunately, I have excellent credit and ownership papers. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments." For a long moment, the room stood frozen. The sound of papers rustling was the only movement in the dealership that once echoed with laughter at her expense. Greg's face drained of color, his arrogance replaced by disbelief. The manager's forced smile trembled as the truth settled in. This wasn't just a customer. This was their new boss. Amara didn't need to raise her voice. Her silence spoke louder than any confrontation could. The same floor that had once looked down on her now reflected her power in every polished tile. She didn't seek revenge. She sought respect. And now she had it. Not just from them, but from herself. Over the next few weeks, changes rippled through the dealership. The staff underwent diversity and ethics training. Hiring practices were rewritten. Those who once thrived on mockery were replaced by people who valued integrity over image. The walls that once concealed quiet prejudice now displayed a new motto she had chosen herself. Dignity is not earned by wealth, it's proven through humanity. The story of the waitress turned owner spread far beyond the city. It became a symbol, a reminder that no act of racism, however casual or hidden behind a smile, goes unseen forever. Amara never spoke publicly about that day. She didn't need to. Her success was the loudest response to every insult ever thrown her way. Sometimes life doesn't need revenge. It needs revelation. How many people just like her are underestimated every single day? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful true life stories that inspire change.